The first qualifying session then for the 2025 Walter Hayes Trophy is but moments away. We've got 100 plus cars divided into the 4 heats, and plenty of extras have arrived on the scene even in the last 3 or 4 days. So we've got quite a few extras. I think we're up to 105 in total, and the cars, as I say, will come from the assembly area out onto the circuit in a moment. Paul Trustwell is down in the pit lane, Alistair Douglas and David Addison overlooking the circuit at Woodcote for the moment. And each of these 4 heats, Alistair, is a competitive one. The draw has had some science in it.
Yes, I don't know how the draw is done, but somehow they get all the quickest drivers in separate heats.
Yeah.
But some of the heats look more competitive than others, which is always the way when you've got probably, I reckoned yesterday when I was looking at the entry list, probably 15 potential winners.
Crikey.
Just people that have won races before that could be there, because it is a bit of a lottery. How things go, but you're right. Yes, you look at each heat, and there are 3 or 4 quick drivers in every heat. So we will be now watching the times very closely indeed. The track's still a little bit damp, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to favour the later heats, I think.
It is in terms of overall time, but you qualify independently, don't you? So
yes.
Every time setting, if you like, Q1 is for Heat 1. You're not then having to compare and contrast against other heats. It becomes more of a factor when you start to progress, and the results of a heat and the results of another heat have to blend in. However, we'll worry about the progression in due course. There are, as I say, out of the 105 cars that have made it through testing, a good number of extras. Now, as far as Heat 1 is concerned, who do we need to offer you as an extra driver? 52 is one of them, Anthony Denham, who comes from Aylesbury, and he's got a Van Diemen RF80 with a CKM engine. Also extra for this heat is going to be number 189 of Tom Nippers, and he also is Van Diemen mounted, but a much newer RF01 with a Nippers engine tuned by himself, therefore. And 472 Dominic Shepherd is another extra with the venerable Van Diemen RF78 with the OC Racing Martin O'Connell team engine, the Van Diemen RF78. From the pits, Paul.
Yes, I'm just looking at programme changes and things. I've got Callum Grant with me. According to the programme, Callum, you're in a Merlin, but this is a Van Diemen you've got here.
Yeah, we had it ready from last week, and we brought them both down, tested the Merlin Thursday morning. It was quick, put it in the trailer, got the Van Diemen out, that was quick. But then we discovered there was a crack in the wishbone on the Merlin, so we took that as a sign and just changed the entry to the Van Diemen.
But it's a good little car, this, isn't it? And I think the phrase is punch above your weight, really, don't you, Callum?
Yeah, that's the aim. I think it's the only 90 to 92 Van Diemen on the grid that's absolutely an original specification. Still on the old Bilstein dampers, still got the original wishbones on the car, so I'm hoping they're still going to be there by the end of the weekend.
No cracks in them.
Not these ones, no.
But yeah, so realistically, so you'll be in the Janet Cesar Trophy then, will you?
Yeah, we'll be in the Janet Cesar Trophy, and hopefully we can get up towards the front.
And looking towards top 10 in the Walter Hayes?
We'll see. If it stays greasy, then these modern cars, once they're set up for the wet, are a lot better on traction, but can always throw it up the inside when I need to, so we'll see what happens.
Good. Okay, thanks, Callum. Good luck.
Paul, your next target is to confirm the vintage of that car and the engine, because we have to amend our amendment sheet now.
Yes.
So it's a Van Diemen RF 90 or 92?
I think it's an RF 90, isn't it?
It's a 91.
It's a 91, an RF 91, and the engine is from?
Neil Bowles. Gearbox, don't know, it's not been rebuilt in about 20 years.
Okay, so put down to Neil Bowles' engine, David.
Right.
Thank you, Callum.
Splendid, well done, Paul. Right, while all that's been going on, we've got some times, and Tom Nippers with his Van Diemen from 2001 is the fastest, number 189, and second fastest, number 127, somebody that spent his year racing Porsches, but Jacob Toft's number 127 currently is just 88 thousandths back. About to come out of Luffield then, up towards the timing line, is Tom Nippers. We'll see whether he can go quicker again. He's been looking good in the sectors. He breaks the timing beam now, and Tom Nippers does go quicker again, a 69.097, and he's doing this, Alistair, as far as I can see, on his own without a tow.
Yes, that seems to be the case. We've had some races here recently in Formula Ford where the leader has managed to pull away, or has there have been a group of cars that haven't been able to catch, is the other way of looking at it, which is unusual because normally somebody makes a break and then within a couple of laps it's all closed up again.
We just had a lap time disallowed for Brendan Lee, the sim racing world champion. It's all a bit different on a sim. You can press reset and go again, but here he's having a lap disallowed, and so also is Guy Skin, the race control team, very keen on track limits this weekend, making sure that people stay where they should be. Up to third fastest now goes number 78, Joey Foster, multiple winner of the event, and one of only 2 drivers to have won the festival and the Walter Hayes Trophy within the same year, the other one being Niall Murray. So Joey Foster third, and a man to watch, I would have thought.
Definitely. Knows this circuit very well indeed.
Yeah.
I remember about 5 or 6 years ago, he and Michael Moyers took each other off at Copse on the first lap of their heat, and therefore didn't get through at all. Had to go to the progression and then the last chance, but they still got to the final.
So Tom Nippers the quickest for now, from Jacob Toffs, and then Joey Foster back up to third. It was the Belgian driver John Svensson who was briefly third, but almost every car that crosses the timing line at the moment is going to shuffle the order a little bit. A rather lonely Harrison Morrow has just gone through, number 75, with his Royale RP21, and there's a yellow flag at Copse Corner. Somebody has had a moment out of view, so we've got a car that is well beached in the gravel. It's gone straight on by the look of it, so the road, Alice was saying, is still damp and it's caught somebody out, so the car has gone straight on and undamaged but sits in the gravel, and I'm trying to see a number. I'm not doing a very good job of it at the minute. So whoever it is, as I say, he's beached in the gravel. So is that Nigel Thompson's car? Possibly. 188 that's in the gravel bed. Hopefully this isn't going to interrupt the session, because although marshals are there, it's quite a long way off the circuit. I think it is Nigel Thompson's car, black and red in colour. So we'll keep an eye. Joey Foster, though, has now gone quickest, 68.711 for the multiple Hayes winner, and that means he's 3/10 up now from Jacob Tofts. Another one to watch, Alistair, I think, now up to fourth. Charlie Mann with the 2020 Ray going quite rapidly.
Yeah, the only question in my mind, did Joey Foster set that time when the yellow flag was out? Question.
Possibly. But the road's drying, Your Honour.
Yeah.
So you're going to go quicker as the road dries, Your Honour.
Yeah. Fastest Carl Hamer, and possibly in for a slightly better than an 8th where he is at the moment. Joe Ahrens has always gone well at the Hayes, and he's in the Carl Hamer for the older cars. So he's 8th quickest at the moment. Also up there in 9th is Luke Cooper, who
have a red flag, right?
Yes, because the car's stuck, isn't it?
Yeah. And possibly also because if drivers aren't responding to the yellow flag and still going tonking through cops, it becomes less safe. So with 4 minutes and change on the clock, red flag.
Luke Cooper took the opportunity to come into the pits before the red flag, but utilising the fact that yellow was out and there was no opportunity to improve. And there's some, call it fairly major setup changes going on here. They've changed the rear roll bar, they're changing tyre pressures. There's possibly a bit of muck around the car, which means that he might have explored the limits a little bit, but might also mean that they just didn't clean it before the session started. But normally the team's very keen on making sure that their cars are absolutely clean on at the start, but this one's a bit mucky. Anyway, so Luke Cooper is, I say, having some fairly substantial work done, and he'll be grateful for the red flag because it'll give the team a bit more time to complete that. They're going to be changing the front suspension as well, front roll bar settings changing there as well.
The cars are all queuing up at the end of the pit lane, and we are going to have the full remaining time, which is 4 minutes and 25 seconds, which might not sound a lot, but on a lap here where they're doing 68 seconds for a pole position lap, it does matter quite a lot. So I'll get quite a bit of mileage in that. So down the pit lane they come. Joey Foster then the fastest at the moment, 68.711. Jacob Toth second on a 69.082. Tom Nippers third, 69.181. And Nigel Thompson, I think we'd established, was the man in the gravel that's caused the stoppage. He is 19th in the times at the minute. But he's not going to go very much further. As ever in a Formula Ford entry, older cars still able to mix it with the newer ones, which has always been one of the great features of Formula Ford racing. You don't have to have the most modern of technologies to be competitive.
No, it's remarkable, isn't it? It's been around since 1967, Formula Ford, and remarkably little change, really. Still running on treaded tyres, although not, as we were discussing briefly this morning, you could run any road tyre you like when Formula Ford started, but now it's two types of Nova tyre.
They're only allowed 2 sets across the whole of the weekend, so they do have to be a little bit careful about how they choose to use them. Not quite sure whether the greasy conditions have a greater impact or whether the dry conditions wear the tyres out more quickly. But just going back to what Alistair was saying about the longevity of Formula Ford, it's a long time since I've been around the pit lane and I'm enjoying it enormously, but what has struck me is the spread of ages of people that are here. There's some people in their 80s, undoubtedly. I'm sure they won't mind me saying so. And
none taken, Paul. No.
And it's great because everybody's in it together. They're all competing against one another. But whether it's drivers or people working on the cars, to say this, it's truly for all ages, the Wood Hayes Trophy.
It is indeed. So Nigel Thompson is out of his car, the car is out of the gravel, it is back in the pit lane, and that means that we can get the qualifying session swiftly, I think, back underway. The driver that is slowest at the moment, the one that needs to try to improve, is Koen Barretta, one of the two Dutch drivers, teammate to his fellow pilot, Jaap Leijleven. Koen Barretta is somebody we don't see very often, if at all, at the World Hayes Trophy, so he's still playing himself in. That's the other element. Paul talks about the spread of ages, spread of nationalities, from Australia, from Holland, from France, from Switzerland, all over the place.
South Africa.
South Africa, indeed. America,
Canada.
A great international event, the Hayes.
Yeah, France, Switzerland as well.
Right, green flag shown in the pit lane, red light still on the circuit, so hopefully someone's going to turn that off in a moment, but the cars are being allowed out. And the red light continues to flash on the pit straight, but the clock has started and it says green flag on the timing screen. So there are red lights still around the circuit, so that's going to confuse people immeasurably. Now they've gone off, thankfully.
Yeah, there was a bit of a kerfuffle at the front because the chap who was first in the queue, Tom Hawkins, wasn't ready to go, and so everybody who was stacked up behind him wasn't able to get out. Those who weren't actually in the queue but were in front of their pit box were able to kind of sneak round Tom and get out ahead of them. So it wasn't an elegant restart after the green flag was shown.
Right. But a restart it was, at least.
But a restart it was, and as you say, what, 4 minutes to go?
Yeah, and the first one across the timing line to go on to a flying lap is 106 Andrew Ames, who's normally pretty rapid in the Canon liveried Van Diemen RF88. So it's one of the older cars. We've got somebody rather slowly, I see, coming through Woodcote. Number 17, that was, Klaus-Dieter Hackel, the German driver, but he's picking up pace. So what did we have? 4 minutes and change, and we're already down to just under 3 minutes. Time flies.
It does, yes. Andrew Ames, brother of Alex, who will be out in a later heat qualifying session, and he's certainly a potential winner of the whole event. I think he was in the top 10 last year, if I recall, probably 4th, 5th, something like that. Somebody who I thought might go a little bit better, but maybe car problems, is Dominic Shepherd, number 472, who was racing here earlier in the year in a Formula 2 car and was very quick indeed. He works for Martin Stretton, and he brought out one of the Stretton cars and was just stepped into it. and went very quickly. So he's 21st at the moment.
But he is in one of the older cars, a Van Diemen RF78.
But Joe Ahrens is 8th.
Yeah,
in
indeed.
In a similar car, Carl Hamer car.
And quite often these wet conditions, greasy conditions, are the leveler, aren't they? This is where we, in years gone by, had the great heroics from the likes of the late Neil Cunningham, the late David Leslie in their older cars, that in the wet, slippery conditions used to be able to get right up there with the more modern cars. We've got probably time for 2 more laps for most. And Joey Foster from Tom Nippers from Jacob Toft, the order. Up to 5th now, John Svensson, regular here, the Belgian driver, runs his own race preparation team. He's done a 69.5 to go 5th fastest. Charlie Mann, 4th ahead, has had a lap disallowed for track limit abuses. So the order continues to shuffle, and we've got just over a minute before the flag.
Joey Foster went quicker again on his last lap, 108.244, which means he remains in provisional pole position by a huge 0.8 of a second, which is enormous for Formula Ford racing. He is still out there. Tom Nippers is second quickest with a 109.052, and then very close behind, just 300ths, is Jacob Toft's number 127, who is third quickest with a 109.082. But it's just changed because Charlie Mann's gone second quickest now. Charlie Mann done a 108.778, which puts him just over half a second slower than Joey in number 78, who's quickest at the moment.
And others still pouring over the line, trying to get a tow as well, coming through Woodcote, through Luffield this time around. And an improvement has just come from Dominic Shepherd. That's got him up to 19, so he's chipping away. He'll squeeze one more lap out of it. Way up the curb there, though, does go Joey Foster, coming through Beckett. So clambering up the curb. Klaus-Dieter Hackel's ground to a halt. That was the car that was a little bit slow, the Van Diemen, coming out of Woodcote, and it's stopped at Copse by the look of it. Yes, yellow flag at Copse Corner. The checkered flag is going to be out now anyway, so that shouldn't affect life. Everybody that goes past it now should be backing off anyway because the session's at an end. Joey Foster, then the fastest, but Tom Nippers using the very wide line at Luffield. They're looking for a bit more grip coming up towards the checkered flag. Whether or not this is going to be an improvement, we will see. He was down in sector 1, but he was a little bit quicker in sector 2, so Tom Nippers comes through now, goes second fastest then, and ends up just 2/10 back from Joey Foster, so a good last effort that.
Foster goes quicker on his last lap. Joey Foster just rubs it in really with that pole position time of 108.039, not quite getting into the 7s.
And a quirky lap because he was slower in his first sector, absolute best in the second, and slower in the third. But then up to second fastest goes number 90 of Anthony Amato, the Ray GR22, ends up second fastest, 0.366 of a second back from Joey Foster, but he's been nowhere really through the session, but it all came good right at the very end.
So that pushes, well, in fact, John Svensson goes quicker on his last lap. Most cars actually did their best lap on the last lap, which is sensible really, because the track must be drying slightly with every passing lap.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
John Svensson goes third quickest, and Tom Nippers drops from second to 4th in that last lap rush.
So the last handful to take the flag include 177 Koen Barretta, who remains at the foot of the times as he acquaints himself with a slippery Silverstone. And 28 just goes across the timing line, one of the final ones through Tom Hawkins. Others already in the pit lane. So most, I think, have done what they can do. Peter Hannum from Westwood Ho goes through to be 24th with the Zeus. So I think that's pretty much everybody. So fastest then is number 78, Joey Foster. The time 1 minute 8.039. Doesn't actually affect anything else for qualifying, but it is worth scribbling down just by way of a guide for what we have later on. Second fastest then, number 90 of Anthony Amato. His time 1 minute 8.405. Ooh, somebody takes the flag again. I think that might have been Michael Fitzgerald, it was. And then third fastest, number 135 of John Svensson, the man from Liège, 1 minute 8.431. Fourth quickest was 189, one of the extras, Tom Nippers. Fifth fastest, 127, Jacob Tofts. And sixth fastest, number 28, Tom Hawkins. Seventh quickest, number 20, Charlie Mann. Eighth fastest was 22, Luke Cooper. Arguably should have been a bit higher up than that because he's normally quick. Ninth quickest, 51, Joe Ahrens. Fastest in the Carl Hamer class. 10th quickest, number 72, Brendan Lee, eSports World Champion. 11th fastest, 84, Gaius Ginn. 12th quickest was number 106, Andrew Ames. 13th fastest, number 8, Nigel Dolan. 14th fastest, number 75 of Harrison Morrow. 15th quickest, number 91, Ben Turner. 16th fastest, number 80, James Colburn. Then you had 17th quickest, number 31, Robbie Allen. 18th quickest, number 17, Klaus-Dieter Hackel before the car stopped. 19th fastest, 472, Dominic Shepherd. 20th quickest, number 6, Michael Fitzgerald. If you're looking at his name in the entry list, that is how it's spelt. It's the Irish way. 21st fastest, 52. That's an extra. Anthony Denham. 22nd fastest, number 188, Nigel Thompson, who calls the red flag. 23rd fastest, number 58, Jamie Perry. 24th, 277 of Peter Hannum. And 25th, number 177 of Kuhn Barretta. Right, that's the order. And the target time, if you like, 1 minute 8.039. That from Joey Foster. Right, Heat 2 coming up. So in a moment we can have a look at who is in that. But again, we've got some quick names, quick familiar faces in that. And the entry will be headed by, amongst others, I think it is fair to say, Rick Morris. Now, before we get much further, to the pits, Paul.
Yeah, a quick word with Joey Foster.
Of course.
Had to get up early this morning, Joey, but it was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah, being in Heat 1, it's always, you're out first, so you've got to try and understand the conditions and see what's going to be. But I think we called that right from what I'm gathering. So, yeah, the car felt good, but it was just trying to pick out the dry lines around the circuit, and it was changing every other lap. So.
I was going to say, with the changing conditions, does that mean potentially having to change the setup for the heat itself when it comes up later on?
Yeah, certainly. I think there's a few showers rattling through, but I think they're moving so fast that any shower that does come down will probably not wet the track too much. So yeah, we'll have a look at what we can do for the heat. And
the track, how much time is there still to come out of it, do you reckon? Because it's still a little bit damp, as you say.
Yeah, I can see it now improving seconds every lap for the next qualifying. But I'd say we're looking at probably, I think we'll be down in the 1 minute ones for the heat. So yeah, it should be full dry.
And of course, that's going to be important when it comes to qualifying through the heat, assuming you're going to qualify through the heat, because the faster you can qualify the faster your heat time is, the better it places you for semi-final conditions.
Very true. Yeah, I'd say all the heats will be dry looking at the moment. It's just going to be a case of slipstreaming battles and the typical World Hayes Trophy races.
That time you won this again, isn't it?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Okay, Joey. Good luck. Thanks very much. David.
Thank you very much. Yeah, 2022 was the last win, so there's another one in the post, I think, isn't there? Right, the next batch of cars then will be released shortly. Looking down into the assembly area, Rick Morris then in the Team Royale colours, inveterate Formula Ford enthusiast, doesn't just race in the UK, goes to race in South Africa during the winter as well. Still, his biggest claim to fame was defeating Ayrton de Silva here in Formula Ford days. But Rick was always one of the masters of Formula Ford, especially around Silverstone. Now, cars are on the circuit, Alistair, and again, there are quite a few names that stand out from this, I guess.
Well, certainly, yeah. Last year's winner, Rory Smith, running number 1, of course, definitely stands out. Rick Morris, maybe not for an overall position, but certainly he had 2 wins here 2 weeks ago at the Historic Sports Car Club finals meeting against strong opposition. So at 78 years old, Rick Morris has certainly still got it. He's there. We've also got Felix Fischer as well, who's a Castle Combe racer, and of course Jason Smith. Jason Smith 2 weeks ago won the Formula Ford Festival.
And also you've got Andrew Rackstraw, the South African driver, number 40, who is not only a British Racing Drivers Club Rising Star, but he's also this year's Porsche Carrera Cup GB champion, and it's his 3rd go in the Walter Hayes Trophy. Now, 2 years ago, he was 3rd. Last year, he was 2nd. So there really is only one place that he can go legitimately if that continues.
I did suggest that to him on the podium last year. 3rd, then 2nd. Where are you going next? He's certainly got plenty of experience, hasn't he?
He has, although he's not done, I think, a huge amount of Formula Ford racing this year, while he's been concentrating on Carrera Cup. Unlike the Ginetta Junior drivers, Carrera Cup does race on the national circuit, so he has got a little bit of track knowledge, but in something very, very different. But he's a talented driver, is Andrew, so one to watch. He's been a Formula Ford champion back home, and as the cars come pouring over the timing line, next time through we'll start to see proper representative laps, although of course because they come from the assembly area, the session starts from there, they are onto a flying lap that little bit faster, that little bit sooner.
And if you've got your programme there and you look at number 42, you might say, oh, I recognise the surname Esterson. That's the American driver Hugh Esterson, actually brother of Max. Max won the race, or won the whole thing, the Walter Hayes Trophy in 2021, and was a contender in the following year as well. But he has moved on to higher things, has Max, but Hugh has come in to replace him and is quick.
And so too is Andrew Rackstraw, who is going to do the benchmark time here. So the driver from Cape Town comes up towards the timing line, goes through now, and Andrew Rackstraw's lap is a 67.740, straight away quicker than Joey Foster. So as the road gets a little bit drier, he moves himself not up the order, but proves that these could be quicker times than we had in Heat 1's qualifying, and by the time we get to Heat 4, if it doesn't rain, it's going to go faster still. But yet Jason Smith goes even faster still, 67.071.
Yep, popped in there on that same lap, so they're each completing a lap going quicker, as we saw in the first Heat qualifying. And also there is number 1 Rory Smith as well. He's only 6/10 back. And then it's Megan Giltz, number 64, the Canadian driver who works for Red Bull Racing now in their engineering department. One of the many that sits back at base when the races are on.
Ex-GB4 racer. Her brother raced GB3 for a time. Rather slow Valvoline liveried car there for Simon Hadfield going over the line. Great historic preparer as well as racer, who is often tempted out to come and have a go in this. Right, Jason Smith then, whose father Neville was always a mainstay of the Walter Hayes Trophy, coming up towards the timing line. This lap is slightly slower in the sectors. Andrew Rackstraw then half a second back, so across the line now goes Jason Smith, and the lap that he's just done is a 1 minute 10.743, so relatively gentle that in comparison with his earlier best.
Yes, maybe just regrouping or looking for a tow, more likely.
Yeah.
Looking for somebody to just latch on to. Andrew Rackstraw still second quickest, half a second back with a 1:07.631.
So cars just turning their way through Beckett's with 7.5 minutes on the clock. Jason Smith, Andrew Rackstraw, Rory Smith is the order. Megan Giltz 4th, Hugh Esterton 5th, and then 6th fastest, it is number 15, David MacArthur. So where's the next gun time going to come from? We'll find out in a second. Just had an improvement from Adam Quartermain, who goes through. He's another of the late entries, another regular in the Walter Hayes Trophy over the years.
And Jason Smith's uncle is in the race. He doesn't do much racing, and he's running in car number 41. Nigel Smith is Neville's brother, therefore Jason's uncle, and he's also over from Ireland, but doesn't do a lot of racing, unlike Jason, who has really gone very, very well over the last couple of years.
Paul, we're going to send you Simon Hadfield, I'm afraid, down the pit lane. Simon should not be slowest, and I say the car was slow on track. It's now come down the pit road, so something is not quite right for Simon Hadfield. We've got 6.5 minutes on the clock as across the line has just gone Dave Parks, who's another regular in club racing Formula 4. Paul?
It's a nice-looking car, that Valvoline.
It is, yeah.
Whether he's actually getting money from Valvoline or whether he just likes the livery, I don't know. But of course, Murphy's Law. I've got to wander up there, but there's not a mad rush to sort him out, I'm afraid. And also coming in to join him in the pit lane is car 20, which is the Charlie Mann car.
From Heat 1.
He's fairly well up, I think, isn't he?
He was in the early
Oh,
heats.
he's from Heat 1,
returning
yes. So
from Park Fairway, I think.
yes, he is, that's right.
Andrew Rackstraw's gone fastest briefly on a 67.023, but then Jason Smith, virtually the next car through, goes yet faster, and now we're into the 66.5, so demonstrably quicker than Joey Foster earlier on in the day. So the times were tumbling. As I say, every qualifying session is self-contained for that heat, but it's just interesting to compare and contrast. Who else have we got still circulating? 24 coming out of Beckett's, Wayne Rushforth, who needs to, because he's only 23rd at the moment, rather than 20 out of the 26, so he's got some work to do there. But Jason Smith 4/10 up on Andrew Rackstraw. Rory Smith third. You could argue this is perhaps the most competitive of the heat. Certainly you've got three absolutely potential winners there arguing over pole position for the heat itself.
Certainly, yeah, Heat 2 did look the most competitive when we saw the lists come out last night. But yeah, Heat 3 is looking pretty tasty as well, but it's Jason Smith who is quickest with a 106.599, but Andrew Rackstraw's now in the sixes. His next lap was a 106.666, so he's 67 thousandths slower than Jason Smith, and Rory Smith a 107.227, so not quite made it into the 66s yet.
So Andrew Rackstraw, 66.666 seconds. It's 67 thousandths away from pole. So he's slightly broken the pattern there. But anyway, up to third now goes number 88. This is Jonathan Kotick, the Floridian, with his Van Diemen from 2020. We've got another one coming down the pit lane. But Jonathan Kotick then up to third, and he's only 19 thousandths back from Andrew Rackstraw. So number 88, Jonathan Kotick, one to watch. We've got 141 off the road as well. He's trying to rejoin on the rather slippery grass. That's Paul Unsworth in the Lola T200. I'm trying to work out where he's done that. It's coming out of Beckett's, isn't it, onto Wellington Straight?
Yes, it is. Wide.
Going again, which is good.
That car that came into the pits hasn't popped up on our screen, so unless that's... No, he hasn't come in from the previous session, has he? So
no, it's Simon Hadfield coming in again.
Ah, right.
So he came in, went out again, and has now given up, and he's getting himself out of the car. So problems for Simon Hadfield. But I say, poor chap doesn't have any mechanics to help him with the car. So if he does anything, he's going to have to do it himself.
He is one of the great preparers of historic race cars, so I suppose that's kind of acceptable, isn't it? How's Rick Morris getting on out of all of this? He is 17th at the moment, the 78-year-old. Jonathan Kotick just going through Copse Corner. His last lap was not an improvement, and the flag is about 3 minutes away. So Jonathan Kotick looking pretty impressive here for somebody that doesn't know Silverstone all that well.
Jason Smith now in the fives, just 105.938, and Rackstraw had a slower lap, so did Jonathan Kotick as well. So they're both regrouping for maybe a final charge before the flag.
Yeah, rather worryingly for the rest, Jason Smith now 7/10 of a second up the road, isn't he? So it's one thing not to be quickest if you're thousandths back, but when you're 7/10 on a short lap like this, that's a bit more of a concern, I would have thought. So Jonathan Kotick coming towards the end of a lap. We've got 2 minutes on the clock still, and Jonathan Kotick this time was decent in the sectors, but as he comes up towards the beam, goes through and stays third fastest. So Smith, Rackstraw, Kotick, Gilks, Rory Smith, MacArthur for the top six at the minute.
Hugh Esterson in 7th, although he just drops to 8th because up into 7th comes the fastest Janet Cesar qualifier, and that's number 148, which is Dave Parks in the Reynard. I think by far the most popular car in the whole of the programme is the Van Diemen, but a good smattering of Rays and Reynards and others.
And Jonathan Kotick is on a mission here. So he's done 2 personal bests coming down towards Brookland. What might go against him is the traffic, because as he heads up towards Luffield, having to fight the car a little bit here. There is traffic up the road then, so the Middlehurst family-owned Van Diemen coming up towards the line. It comes out of the Team Dolan stable, 2 personal bests. He is going to encounter traffic, but let's see whether that's going to be a real impact as he comes now over the line. So Jonathan Kotick goes through. He has a 66.7, fractionally down. Where did it all unravel? All the sectors were good, oddly. 3 personal best sectors, but the lap was slower. So not quite able to hook it all together, but Jonathan Kotick stays third, but he's a 10th back from Andrew Rackstraw. We are half a minute away from the flag coming out.
Good sector 2 time from Jason Smith on this lap, and a very good, not his best, but a very good sector 1 as well. So will 26 Jason Smith put together an even better provisional pole position lap?
It's possible. He was down in sector 1, but an absolute best in sector 2. but there's traffic all around him. He's going to just squeeze one more lap out of this. He goes through and does go quicker again. That was a 65.625 then. So Jason Smith throwing down a gauntlet here, or a cliche, but certainly he is making people aware of just how good he is.
Two absolute bests on that lap, sectors 2 and 3. Sector 1, as David said, wasn't quite as good, but this time sector 1 absolute best of anybody for Jason Smith. So if he can replicate that in 2 and 3, it'll be an even quicker lap, a 1:05.625, which puts him 0.8 of a second quicker than Andrew Rackstraw.
So Jason Smith, Andrew Rackstraw, Jonathan Coating, Rory Smith, the top 4 flag is out. Jason Smith's going to go quicker again because he's now done 2 absolute best, but he's got to get around the outside of traffic coming down towards Brooklands, and all of a sudden he's found himself in a bit of a race here, and this is not what he needed. He's fastest anyway, so he doesn't have to go yet quicker. Rory Smith, in contrast, has lost a lap for track limits, but Jason Smith finding himself rather caught up then behind another car. He's about to come through Woodcote. The car in question that wasn't being overly cooperative was that of Megan Gilks, in fact, which is 5th fastest, and that lap for Jason Smith in the end did turn out to be slower by about 0.7 of a second, and basically it was by getting stuck in the last sector in traffic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Up to that point he'd done 2 absolute bests, sector 1 and 2. So, and of course on the Silverstone National Circuit the sectors are very short, so we get to see straight away in very short order how they're doing around the 3 sectors that the circuit is divided into.
So just to prove how the road is drying, and admittedly a more modern car as well, but Jason Smith's pole lap 65.625, Joey Foster 68.039. So heat 3 coming up. Just to run through the order though, from heat 2, the fastest was 26 then Jason Smith, who is one of the extras, having won the festival. He then put his entry in for this, 65.625 the time. From number 40, Andrew Rackstraw, for Kevin Mills' team, 66.440, 3rd in the end. So no wonder she didn't want to be overtaken. Megan Gilks, 66.507, 4th fastest, number 1, Rory Smith, and 5th fastest in the end, 88 of Jonathan Kotick. 6th fastest was number 172, Robert Walt, the South African, another of the South Africans. 7th quickest, 42, Hugh Esterson. 8th fastest, number 15, David MacArthur, and 9th was number 7, Felix Fisher. 10th quickest, 148, Dave Parks, with the 1989 Reynard going quite nicely. 11th fastest, 173 of Connor Kay, and 12th, number 81, Sam Street. 13th quickest, number 117. This is Toft's senior, Neil, Jacob's dad. We saw Jacob in the first session. That's his father going 13th. 14th, number 4, which I think I'm right in saying is a renumbered car, but I need to find where he was to begin with. It's Pascal Montbaron, who has been renumbered. 15th quickest, number 112, Tom Gadd. 16th, number 73, which is one of the extras, Adam Quatermain, with his Van Diemen. 17th fastest, number 2, Rick Morris. 18th fastest, number 167, George Townsend. 19th fastest, number 41, Nigel Smith. 20th, number 14, Gerhard Hauschulte. 21st, number 50, Dave Porter. 22nd fastest, number 49, which is Tim Fitzgerald's Van Diemen RF89, another extra. 23rd quickest, number 24, Wayne Rushforth. 24th, number 69, Alan Slater, with his Nike. 25th was number 141, Paul Unsworth, that was off the road at one point, and 26th fastest with problems, number 94 of Simon Hadfield, who is also an extra, and Pascal Montbaron, thank you, Alistair, was number 96. He has now become number 4. Right, so that's Heat 2 qualifying done. Rapidly, we can head to Heat 3. Cars all lined up, good to go, including John Hayes-Harlow's Crosley 32F. Johnny Hayes-Harlow, as he was one of the few drivers with a track record of Formula Talbot going back to the turn of the 1980s. Jordan Dempsey is in this as well as another previous winner. Paul from the pits.
Yes, got Jason Smith with me. Jason, Formula Ford Festival is barely over and you go quickest in this one as well. You must be quite pleased with that.
Yeah, no, showing our form again into the haze now, so we know we were strong in testing. And yeah, now it's just looking forward to the heats, whether it's going to be dry or wet. I don't really matter because we know we're very, very quick in both conditions. So wait and see what happens.
Got the impression you could have been quicker still in that session on the last lap, but you got held up.
Yeah, no, got held up a little bit. But sure, look, these things happen, and I was on pole anyway. I was improving a little bit, but look, I was still on pole. Maybe it would have been a bit fuming after if I didn't get pole, but I did. Look, it is what it is.
So what's the secret? Is it you? Is it the car? Are you the next Ayrton Senna?
I don't know. Hopefully I am, and people think I am. But yeah, look, you see in them conditions, everybody's in the same. It's all about finding the grip and where to put the car. And I could see I was using everybody. I was eating everybody over in every corner. So yeah, no, really pleased with that now.
Slipstream's a big thing here at Silverstone because of the long straights, of course. Getting away from the pack is going to be difficult.
Yeah, no, getting away is very difficult. I don't know if it's going to be dry or wet for the heat, but if it's dry, we know we've the pace. If the two of them get squabbling behind, I know I can make a break, and everybody knows once I get away, that's it. You're never catching me.
I'll never catch me. Well done, Jason. Good luck. Well done.
There's confidence for you, Paul. Thanks very much. Just keeping an eye on who we've got in the next heat. We've just looked at Remy Brooks-Johnson's Royale RP26, the best-selling of all of the Royales. Others are good to go, including Lee Newsom. And the green flag has been shown, so the 12 minutes is already underway. The cars stream out onto the circuit. But the good news, of course, with the clock starting from the assembly area, is as soon as you come across the timing line, you are onto a flying lap. So you can maximise the number of laps available. 33 doesn't want to get going, I'm afraid to say. Lee Newsom's 2013 Ray is reluctant to get going. Right, through they come then. And we have the first car out being Julian van der Voort, the South African driver. And now we're looking at times round about the 65-second mark. One straight down the pit lane already. That, I think, may have been 48, Ben Tilley. Yes, I think it was, with his Van Diemen.
I think the ones to watch in this one, Jordan Dempsey and Niall Murray, definitely. And then possibilities from further down the order. Julian van der Voort was quick a couple of years ago. Callum Grant in the earlier car.
Paul?
Yeah, just pick up a little bit of housekeeping from the previous session. I had a quick word with Simon Hadfield. What the problem was, I asked him, and he said, good question. Felt it could have been fuel related, either the fuel pump or fuel feed, or maybe just not enough fuel in the car, but surely not, I said. Well, we'll see. So Simon Hadfield, a bit of a mystery problem, but fuel starvation, let's put it down like that.
All right, thank you very much. Jordan Dempsey has just gone to the top, 68.209, but I think it's fair to say that there is more to come from Jordan. The Dempsey family has a pretty good strike rate here. Peter, a multiple winner. Jordan himself won back in 2019.
And a good battle on track, if you can have a battle during a qualifying session, between Julian van der Voort, who is, I think, second quickest at the moment, number 171, and 243 Callum Grant, who normally runs 43, but with the number of cars here, 43 is already taken, so he's gone for 243. And he's in his familiar blue with the orange nose on the car. He's third quickest, so they're running round together. Jordan Dempsey quickest.
This heat, I was going to suggest, feels like it might be easier for Jordan Dempsey than it is for anybody in Heat 2. I might be unfair in saying that, but he would, I think, have to work quite hard not to win this. We will see. But he's going to start as a real favourite.
Well, Niall Murray has just done the absolute best Sector 1 time. He's at the moment languishing in 19th because he hasn't really done a quick time. He just came out of the assembly area and tootled round, but he's a good 10th down on Sector 2. Paul?
Yeah, Ben Tilley, you mentioned, coming into the pits. Funnily enough, he's been looked after by Simon Hadfield. So Simon, rather than looking for his own problems on his car, he's trying to sort out Ben Tilley's car. Benny's on his way, so Simon can go back to looking at what's wrong with his car now.
As long as it's not the same problem, then that's fine.
Well, it's the same problem, same solution. That's easy.
As long as you can find the solution, you're quite right. Right, Niall Murray then, at the end of his first push lap, as it were, 5th quickest, as now the other one to keep an eye to potentially is 57 of Ian Campbell coming out of Luffield. He's got himself in a bit of traffic, but a tow to Woodcote might help, although actually he's down in the sectors here. Quite a lot of pairing off, aren't they? And as he comes across the line then, Ian Campbell goes by but doesn't improve. Where's Niall Murray? Is he trying to keep out of everybody's way and not give a tow, or get on the back of the queue and get a tow?
He's on his own, coming through Luffield, I think, at the moment, very much on his own.
And he's done a personal best and an absolute best as Niall Murray. Jordan Dempsey has done an absolute best in Sector 1 and he's gone quicker still, 66.597, although not a Jason Smith time. Niall Murray then up towards the beam. Is this going to put him onto pole position? Let's see as he goes through. It is. He does a 65.449. Best time of the day.
And that was his, what, second proper flying lap?
Not bad, eh?
Not bad at all.
Right, that's another marker thrown down, this time at Jason Smith. Jordan Dempsey, though, is going to have a go at him, so it's between these two now, isn't it, with the best of the rest, really, being 217, the Warrington driver, Tom MacArthur. So Jordan Dempsey has got to try to get himself into the very low 65s as he comes up toward the line, and he does. He does a 65.341 then. Jordan Dempsey goes back to the top of the times.
As Niall Murray does an absolute best Sector 1 time, just ahead of Jordan Dempsey on the track. So he'll come round to complete his lap just in a few moments' time. Sector 2 for Niall Murray, not as good. And his absolute best Sector 1 time has already been beaten by Jordan Dempsey.
The other one that's arrived on the scene, as it were, is Lewis Fox, the man from Wilmslow, 3rd fastest. Niall Murray goes back to the top, 65.016 now, so 3/10 up on Jordan Dempsey.
But Dempsey is still on a lap, and it's a good one, with an absolute best Sector 1 and Sector 2 time for Jordan Dempsey.
It's interesting, isn't it, how in one or two cases it's better to have a tow, in others the drivers seem to be able to exist without, and in the case of Niall Murray, it looked like a deliberate plan, wasn't it, just to be on his own, nobody around to get in the way, but he doesn't benefit from a tow, nor does he give anybody a tow. Jordan Dempsey back to the top. We're in the fours now, 64.597.
And Niall Murray only 16 thousandths slower than being in the fours, so he's on a 105.016 with a spinner at Brooklands, just recovering.
And Niall Murray down in the first sector of this lap. The middle one was an absolute best, coming up towards the timing line. So Niall Murray, now as the session wears on, does get himself a little bit hooked up with traffic. He goes across the line, and the lap was a 65.451, so he dropped 4/10 earlier on that, and still second fastest.
The spinner at Brooklands was the car number 43, Maris Schultz from Germany, run by Oldfield Motorsport. And 3rd quickest is currently Ian Campbell, who we've mentioned before in the Ray GR08. He's got himself back up into 4th. 171 Julian van der Watt is up to 4th now, although he's just been pipped because in at 3rd quickest, Thomas MacArthur. Tom MacArthur come in at 3rd quickest. Brother of David, who was in the previous heat.
Dad Neil always used to be a rapid Formula Ford racer as well. Whoops, off the road has gone 151. Is that possibly? Did we have a 151? Adam Fathers getting it wrong down at Cops Corner.
Brief yellow flag, but that's gone in now, with 4 minutes remaining in the session. Jordan Dempsey quickest, with a 104.597 for car number 3. Second quickest, number 5, Niall Murray, 104.744, just 0.147 slower. And absolute best first sector for Tom MacArthur, number 217 on this lap. And fastest goes Ian Campbell, number 57 from Dundalk, Ian Campbell, number 57, goes quickest with a 1:04.390. Beats MacArthur's time, who comes in at second quickest. So Murray and Dempsey, who've been at the top of the times all through this session, are now third and fourth, with 1:54 Lewis Fox in fifth place.
And 3 minutes to go, so it's becoming a little bit more jumbled, isn't it, as the road dries and people get a bit more confident.
Good news, Ben Tilley, after that little tweak from Simon Hadfield, has got himself up to 11th quickest in car number 48. But quickest in Janet Cesar, in fact, he just goes up to 9th now, number 48, just behind Callum Grant, who is quickest in Janet Cesar, which is for the pre-99 cars.
And just going back a session or two, Paul was talking about the Simon Hadfield, Valvoline, Van Diemen, and how nice it looks. It's the ex-Stephen Richards car. Stephen has a son of Jim Richards, both joint car legends from down under, recently restored, so maybe it's still going through some of its teething dramas. Number 62, Remy Brooks Johnson's Royale RP26 goes through. That's the car that's currently slowest, with 2 minutes still on the clock, but yeah, really good effort this, isn't it? From number 57 then, of Ian Campbell with the Ray GR08 to go top. But now, number 217 with an absolute best first sector, Tom MacArthur, looking as though he's going to be able to fight back. There's only a 10th between them. Dempsey third, Murray fourth, then Callum Grant fifth. So Tom MacArthur, absolute best in the first sector, will come down towards Brooklands very shortly, get to the end of the Wellington Straight, and he's slower. In fact, he's dropped a little bit of time in that middle sector of the lap. And I'm not entirely convinced necessarily that he's going to be able to regroup from there. We will see, but comes up towards the line as Jordan Dempsey now goes back up to second. He's only 55 thousandths away from Ian Campbell, who's just gone across the line anyway. And that lap from Ian Campbell is a 64.4, about a 10th slower, but he did an absolute best in the last sector. Dempsey stays second, by the way.
So Niall Murray wants to improve, no doubt, from fourth in car number 5.
But he's had a lap time taken off him for the dreaded track limits, so whether that was an improved lap or not, pass. But he's about to come through now, 2 wheels way up the curb on the inside of Woodcote, Niall Murray, as he tries to elbow his way across the line, and he did go quicker on a 64.676, but he stayed fourth. All the heroics, I'm afraid, didn't help him.
Yeah, it's interesting that with the track drying out, the times are closing up, aren't they? In the first heat, which the track was at its wettest, the times were fairly far apart for Formula Ford racing. But 55 thousandths between Campbell and Dempsey now for pole position.
And you've got the leading 8 covered by a second.
Dempsey goes quickest.
He does indeed, now on a 64.212. And Ian Campbell goes quickest on a 64.191. Anybody for the 63s? Come on, we've got 15 seconds before the flag, and it might just be possible the way that they're going here. Niall Murray coming up towards the line. He's down to 5th now. Personal best, sector 1. Slower in sector 2. Where to look next? There's Jordan Dempsey still tonking along. Dempsey's done an absolute best within sector 1. So the flag is out, and Niall Murray comes across the line. He's got to try to improve from 5th if he can. He goes across the line. He goes quickest on a 63.937. He's done it then into the 63s. Niall Murray, 5th to pole, but he's not guaranteed it yet because Jordan Dempsey here has done 2 absolute best. So Dempsey down to 3rd, Alistair.
Yep, he's 3rd and coming through with 2 absolute best sectors. We're looking for car number 3 to come through and complete his final timed lap. There he goes now across the timing line. Does he get pole position? He does, by 32 thousandths of a second.
63.905 then the time. Anybody else yet? Because MacArthur and Campbell go through. Campbell stays 3rd, MacArthur stays 4th. So Jordan Dempsey then is the quickest, not only of the session but of the day thus far. 0.905. Jordan Dempsey ahead of Niall Murray, and that was 32 thousandths of a second. Quite tasty all this now, isn't it? 3rd quickest Ian Campbell, 4th quickest Tom MacArthur, Callum Grant 5th, and Julian van der Mott rounding out the top 6. And Niall Murray, first one to take the flag, first one down the pit lane, and if he thought, looking at his delta on the dash, that he'd got pole, then someone's got to give him the bad news.
And just to prove the point we were talking about earlier, which is the progression of Formula Ford over all the years, 5th quickest and quickest Janet Cesar is number 243, Callum Grant. His car from 1991, and he was 7/10 of a second slower than Jordan Dempsey on pole, whose car is from 2023. So, well, over 30 years between them.
Not bad, eh?
Remarkable.
Yeah, indeed. Well, a really, really exciting session that. Jordan Dempsey tops the times as the cars now make their way down the pit lane. We are going to have one more Walter Hayes qualifying session, and then Alfa Romeos will take to the circuit before we have Ginetta Juniors, and then before we have lunch. The order then at the end of, if you like, Q3, qualifying for Heat 3. Fastest number 3, Jordan Dempsey. Second fastest number 5, Niall Murray, and third fastest number 57, Ian Campbell. Dempsey's time 63.905. The margin between the top two, 32 thousandths of a second. Fourth quickest 217, Tom MacArthur. Fifth was 243 of Callum Grant, and sixth number 171 of Julian van der Watt. Seventh number 154, Lewis Fox. Eighth quickest number 89, Brendan McLaughlin, the man from Ballymena. Then ninth fastest, number 48, another driver going well in the Janet Cesar order, Ben Tilley, after his early problems. Then 10th quickest, number 79, Leanne McShane. 11th fastest, number 43, Maris Schulte, the Osnabrück driver with the Van Diemen JL13. After him, number 44, Paul Mason, was 12th, and 13th, number 33, late to get going, but Lee Newsom improving towards the end. 14th fastest, 151, Adam Fathers. 15th fastest, number 67, which is Stuart Adam. Then 16th fastest, number 98, Leon Frost. And 17th, number 115, which is another one that we have gained, and that is Benjamin Montero. So, apologies, Benjamin Montero. Car info will trace in due course. After him, for 18th fastest, was number 38, John Blanchard, the Australian driver. 19th quickest, number 13, John Hayes Harlow. And 20th was 122, Vincent J. 21st was 133, and that's Cal Bennett. Then 22nd was number 114, Neil Hunt. After that, you had 23rd quickest, number 56, Matt Taylorson. 24th, number 55, Luke McShane. And 25th, number 25, Matt Smith. 26th being number 62 of Remy Brooks Johnson. Paul?
I've got Jordan Dempsey with me. I'm surrounded by the Irish here. I feel like I'm at Phoenix Park or something. Jordan, well done. You put it on pole, but it was a very close qualifying session.
Yeah, it was very close, and I don't think we were on the ideal setup there. But yeah, made it work. I was on for a really good lap in the last lap. I know it was my pole lap, but turned into Brooklands, and geez, I nearly spun it as soon as I turned in. So I was glad to keep it on the black stuff. Yeah, no, great job. The team had done a really good job in the car. So yeah, hopefully keep going from here.
And how are the conditions now? Is it completely dry, or is there still time to come, do you think?
Oh no, there's a lot more time to come. Track's still really slippy. There's places that'll catch you out. But yeah, no, it was fun.
And you enjoying yourself?
Oh yeah, I always enjoy getting back into a Formula Ford. It's probably the best class in the world if you ask me. So, you know, good, enjoyable qualifying session.
How important is the tow here?
Oh, it's extremely important. I didn't get one now, but yeah, it's very important to get the tow. It's probably worth 4 or 5 tenths on a lap. So, yeah, no, happy enough.
Good. Look it. You don't quite look happy enough.
Must be just my resting face. It's just like that.
Well done. Anyway, congratulations, Jordan. Pole position for the third heat. That was the third heat, wasn't it? Yes. One still to come.
Paul, thanks very much. Cars are in the assembly area then, including Chris Porritt for Heat 4. Chris with his Titan Mark 6. He's been a regular historic racer of late, but formerly Aston Martin in GT4 spec. Grace Parkington is good to go with the Van Diemen DP08.
Let me just, I've got Julian van der Watt here.
Yeah.
Julian, having a look around the other cars. Welcome back to Silverstone. You've raced here before, you must enjoy it.
Yeah, it's always nice coming here for the Walter Hayes every year. It's an event we very much look forward to. Just love the track. And the whole event preparation is brilliant. Challenging with these cars that we've got, sort of developing them, especially not doing any sort of testing throughout the year, races, or even driving single-seaters. So we're always a little bit on the back foot, but we sort of claw our way forward, and then sort of hopefully get there by the races.
What brings you to the UK in November when you could be in South Africa, where it's much nicer weather this time of year, isn't it?
Well, it's the event. It's the Walter Hayes. It's something we really look forward to. It's after a season in South Africa with the touring cars and that, this is just such a nice event to come to, and a completely different sort of event than what we used to, and it's just brilliant. We just love it. Come back every year, and it's brilliant.
And do you have to kind of change your mindset into single-seater racing?
The first day is a bit tricky. Going back to the H pattern, single-seater, it's always a bit tricky, but a couple of laps in and it just comes back like a memory. So yeah, we enjoy it, and it's brilliant.
Good. Thanks very much, Julian. Enjoy your weekend. Julian van der Watt there, and cars already on the circuit, David.
Paul, thanks very much. Yes, our final batch of cars then head out for another 12 minutes, after which we'll have a look forward to the remainder of the day. But for our final qualifying session, where do we go for in terms of star names? Well, one has got to be former festival winner Jackie van der Ende, who has been tempted into action. Alex Ames, I guess, also has to be a man to watch in this. You've got Andrew Schofield, who's normally quick.
Casey Enser-Smith,
yeah,
another
indeed.
South African.
Yeah, that's right.
He was third last year, I think he was.
Indeed,
Yeah.
yes. Or Claydon Enser-Smith, to give him his correct title, but he goes under the KC banner or badge. So yeah, an interesting mix again in this.
Another one to mention, always there or thereabouts, Michael Eastwell. Only does one race a year, and it's the Walter Hayes Trophy, and he comes all the way from Australia. He's an Englishman, but he comes all the way from Australia, where he lives now as a wildlife photographer. How can you get further apart from your hobby? So early times coming in. Casey Enser-Smith is fastest at the moment with a 105.156. So even first lap is a 105. So you can see how the times are improving. Ames second quickest, Eastwell third quickest. All the names we've just mentioned, David.
Yes, so we've got something right. And Doug Crosby gets to do a lap time. In fact, number 54, he's another Walter Hayes Trophy regular. Right, so the target time, if you like, is about to be offered up towards the timing line comes number 68 then to go by, and Casey Enser-Smith does a 64.333, and that early on in the session is very, very impressive indeed.
Alex Ames also improves to a 104.436, so a tenth slower than Casey Enser-Smith, and running a couple of cars behind him with a few cars around him, so he might be getting a bit of a tow. Michael Eastwell up to third quickest, number 92, straight on the pace. I guess he's done some testing. He's come over, there was a test session this week, so he's been out in the car, but nevertheless he hasn't done any racing since November last year.
So he's found the rust off pretty quickly, hasn't he?
Yes.
Another one to watch could be Ayrton Juke, the American driver, fourth fastest, and a 64.927 the time so far. One piece of paper has himself with an H and one with a J. Which way are we going?
What number is he?
9.
I've got him an H in my original entry list.
Yeah, the car has an H on the side.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Well, I knew it was right because the list that I'm looking at with an H on it was actually provided by David Addison.
Oh, it must be
so
right.
it must be right, mustn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
I like the pseudo Marlborough colours adorning 46, which is another of the extras that we've got. Arno Deuce's Van Diemen.
Quite a few cars just come out a little late to the party, but we've got 26 on track now, which is what we expected. And another driver who we've seen racing in different things, but always quick, running in the Janet Cesar is James Clark, number 77, who I recall being very quick in a clubman's car a couple of years ago. So he may well improve. He's in the pits, actually.
Casey Ensor-Smith heading up towards the line. Again, one of the drivers that's elected to, if you like, steer away from everybody, not worrying about getting a tow, not give a tow, but he goes across the timing line now to do a 63.468. That's the best lap of the day. And also quick across the timing line to go third now, number 21 of Alex Ames, with Michael Eastwell between the two, about half a second back from Casey Ensor-Smith, who again is doing this without the benefit of a tow. He's not tripping over anybody, but he's not being helped by anybody.
Alex Ames was right under the gearbox of Ayrton Hook as they came through that last time, so he is getting a tow, and he may well return the favour in a lap's time or so and switch over. Ames is quickest in Janet Cesar, one of the pre-99 cars, looking great in its yellow and Pennzoil livery.
We've got James Clark down the pit lane, haven't we, number 77?
Yes.
In the gravel at Copse is 27 of Stephen O'Connor. So we've had cars there before and ended up with a red flag. Let's see what happens this time around. Casey Ensor-Smith then comes out of Luffield up towards the timing line in the red, white and blue colours, breaks the beam again, and that lap is slightly slower, 63.717. That's still good enough to be second fastest, that lap. Still quicker than anybody else has achieved, but slower than his earlier best. 27, he's on the move again. He's managed to find reverse gear. So the car is out of the gravel, and Stephen O'Connor is on his way. Good news.
It was reversed auto parts for a moment there, wasn't it?
Yes, rather. He's got himself mobile again. Right, up to second quickest now is 82 Alex Walker, the Van Diemen RF01. And margin 2/10 of a second. Casey Ensor-Smith at the moment. Dave Ensor-Smith it's going to be hard to stop, but we have had an absolute best first sector now from number 12 Drew Cameron with the Medina Sport BH23, the Medina Sport John Lobel's creation, based on a Van Diemen. Blue flags busily being waved at Woodcote as through traffic comes number 83 Mattia Tremolada, the Monza driver.
Drew Cameron's second sector was best for him, but not as good as has just been done by Alex Walker, who's done the absolute best second sector. So if Drew Cameron can do a good sector 3, then he's got a chance of moving his way up. There he goes across the line now, but he stays in the same place. He does a better time, 104.458, but it doesn't change his grid position, which is 8th at the moment.
And Casey Ensor-Smith has done another absolute best in the first sector. Just had Jackie van der Ende go through, number 18 in the Van Diemen RF78. So he really needed to be out in Heat 1, didn't he? Because he'd have had the greasier conditions that would have helped his overall grid position. Now the road is drier. The former festival winner not having quite such a happy time of it. Right, we've got 4 minutes on the clock. Casey Ensor-Smith still the fastest. Then, now in fact, coming up to traffic. So let's see what he can do. Paul.
James Clark back on his way again.
Okay.
Seemed to be a misfire, but they've also taped up the air intakes into the cooling part of the engine. So see if that actually makes them go any quicker.
Okay, thank you. We've now got number 9 of Ayrton Hook up to third, 63.720. And that puts him ahead of Michael Eastwell. And then 5th quickest now, number 99. That is Jordan Kelly with Alex Ames. 6th fastest, 77, sounding all flat and horrible. That's James Clark. So Paul's saying it might be a misfire. He's gone back out, but it still doesn't sound great, that. But as long as he's got his 3 laps in, then they can worry about repairs before the heat. 82 of Alex Walker, we were looking at coming out of Beckett's, looking rapid as well. He's done a 63.364 as his best lap, but this lap is down, and all of the traffic around is not going to help life. Tries to wriggle his way through. We've lost number 19, I'm afraid, up against the barrier. I thought it was a Cops, but Ben Sims with the Jomo going no further in this session. He was 12 fastest as well, so for one of the older cars, that's pretty good going.
Multiple historic champion over the years, and apparently Jackie van der Ende has dropped the Y. He's now Jack van der Ende. He's grown up, according to James Beckett.
Oh, right, okay.
To which Ian Titchmarsh replied, so Jackie Stewart hasn't grown up yet then. But he's driving the car that was driven here last year by Jan Magnussen.
That's right, yes. I think having been Jackie van der Ende for so long,
Yes.
we start now calling him Jack, people wonder what we're talking about. But either way, he is
20th.
20th fastest. Yeah, he's fallen back a little bit as others have improved. So the checkered flag is 2 minutes or so away. Brother Ricardo van der Ende is still one of the mainstays of GT4 racing, but he remains a Ricardo. To Ricky. Right, Himmels is looking quick. Unlike the previous session, that now we've got to a point where actually the improvements are a bit harder to find. There are more yellows than greens, whereas the Heat 3 qualifying session, people were improving all the way through.
I wonder if that suggests that the track is now reasonably dry all the way around. It's not actually drying any further, and therefore times are steady. Although Casey Enser-Smith has just done the absolute best sector 1, so he's on a push. See how he does in sector 2. He's already quickest. Sector 2, not an absolute best, but not bad. A couple of tenths down though. Second is still 82 Alex Walker. And Alex Ames, fastest Janet Cesar for the pre-99 cars, but also third overall quickest in car number 21, the yellow Pennzoil car, which camel livery, which has just gone over the line. Does he improve? No, he doesn't.
We've lost Jeremy Kane somewhere, have we not? Number 157, because he's slowest in the Lola T200, but shown as being stranded out on the circuit somewhere, and has only done 6 laps to everybody else's sort of 10 or 11 in the majority of cases, so problems for him. The flag imminent then to round out our final Walter Hayes Trophy heat as Arnaud Douce goes through in the pseudo Marlborough Chevron Van Diemen. And Wosley got himself 2. He's up to 16 fastest, just improved there. He's another of the extras. Jack van der Ende, 21st as he goes by. And the flag goes out now. The first one to take it is going to be number 130, Dominic Mooney. So that wasn't as dramatic a session as the earlier, but Casey Enser-Smith doing a 62.976 in the end. So that's the fastest qualifying lap of the morning. Three-tenths of a second up on Alex Walker, so good going there. As the last few cars come across the line to take the checkered flag. Including number 71, that being Andrew Schofield. Does he improve at the end? 14th. Did get an improvement out of number 99 by the look of it. Jordan Kelly up to second, and he did a 63.296 ahead of 199, which is Connor Willis also improving at the very end. So we thought the track maybe wasn't evolving. It did slightly, but right at the very end. Casey Enser-Smith has yet to take the flag, but even though the sectors are slower, I don't think he's in any jeopardy here. Everybody else that's quick has gone through. In fact, he has now taken the flag. So Casey Enser-Smith takes pole position, and that by just over 3/10 of a second is the fastest qualifying time of the morning. Right, that for the moment concludes activity. We have one more qualifying session to go on the track before we go racing, but as far as the Walter Hayes Trophy part of the day is concerned, qualifying done, and we'll see them back on track after lunch, ready for their 4 races today, the 4 heats that we will look forward to. So we'll have a short break, and then track activity will continue in a few minutes' time.